motorcycle is whatever you want to make it. Turn it on, you can give yourself a real thrill.
What's going on, guys? This is Carl with the RacerRed channel. Just took a break here to have some M&Ms, and I saw this white PVC style pipe coming through here. Must be a water line or something. If anybody knows what that is, leave a comment. Man, this is a beautiful bike. I just did an oil change on it. It's nice to have a fresh oil change and to have everything lubed up. The chain is nice and quiet, and the engine, you can just tell it's definitely happy that I did an oil change. It just runs smoother. It shifts better. It's nice when you get that nice, smooth, meshy feel to the shifter as opposed to like a mechanical clank. Your oil has to be getting pretty old for it to have that mechanical clank to it, but it definitely happens. My maintenance intervals are generally right around what the manufacturer specified intervals are when it comes to oil changes. But for this particular bike, they want you to check the valves every single oil change. I'm not about doing that. But oil changes are every 30 hours on this bike, which works out to about 1,000 miles for me. So generally every 1,000 miles I'll do an oil change. But it just makes me feel better about riding the bike when I have a fresh oil change. There's something about it, especially full synthetic. I mean, you can definitely tell just the engine is loving life when you're riding it. I just got done watching a video of a DRZ 400 that had 47,000 miles on it, and it didn't need any real maintenance. 47,000 miles on a 400cc engine is a lot of miles. That's impressive for even a 600 or 1,000cc engine. And mileage is something that isn't the same for each engine either. It really depends on how big your engine is. Like a Honda Grom, I wouldn't even buy those used, and yet people want like $2,500, $3,000 for them, almost new price. I might buy one for $1,000 because those little 125cc engines are just redlined constantly, and they're stunted constantly because people are trying to learn how to wheelie and all that stuff on them. So those little bikes are just demolished at 10,000 miles, and not necessarily, but that's still like 50,000 miles on a regular bike. Depends on the cc's of the engine and how much each engine gets revved up. But a 1,000cc sport bike, that's what I like to buy because those things are never really revved up. It's a pretty safe bet that the engine's going to be good. If this engine were to make it 45,000 miles like that DRZ had, I'd be a beta buyer for life. I mean, this is a high performance bike. A reasonable person you couldn't reasonably ask this bike to go that far. According to the manufacturer specified maintenance intervals, this bike is supposed to have a piston replacement at 90 hours, which is, I think, ridiculous. I never go by manufacturer specifications because this bike is really coming up on that. I think I have 72 hours on this bike, or somewhere around there, 78 hours. Generally, if you do good oil changes, you're going to have a way better time throughout the lifetime of your bike. If you keep good synthetic fresh oil in your bike and you make sure that it's always got coolant in it, your bike's going to treat you really well. Most likely, that is. But here, breathing the beautiful mountain air where the sun is blotted out with smoke. The trees are all hazy, and it hurts to breathe. There are some wildfires around here, obviously. There's a bunch of them in Oregon, and there's one in Cambridge, unfortunately. I would like to explore out some of these little side roads here, but I know they will probably dead end. This is a pretty cool road. Oh man, I always say it when I'm riding this bike, but this bike has been a really good choice. I really enjoy riding this. It's like an onion, it's got layers. Engine just has layers to it. It's got a nice soft feel to it on the bottom end. Really usable power. But on the top end, if you really let it rev out, this thing just starts screaming. I rarely use the top end of this engine, because there's no real need. I mean, it feels like the top end when I'm kind of in the mid-range. My fake drone flight. This is a restricted area right now for flying drones, so I wasn't able to get it airborne, but I carried it around for you and hopefully got some somewhat decent shots of the area at least. It has Hawley Mountain Lookout, which had an elevation of 7,300 feet. It's just northeast of Horseshoe Bend. Oh wow. So lame that it just dead ends. Believe it or not, Carl isn't at home. So leave a message at the beep. I must be out or I'd pick up the phone. Where could I be? Believe it or not, I'm not home.